In this next clip, we're going to solve simultaneous equations again in two variables, but we're going to use reformulation and what I call proportional symmetry, as we'll see. We're going to reformulate one of the equations such that we get a collinear equation embedded in it, and then we can solve for one of the variables and then get the other one by reformulation. Auto Parts Inc. Incorporated wants to mix two antifreeze solutions to obtain 60 liters of a solution that's 3.2% methanol. Solution T is 2% methanol and solution S is 6% methanol. How many liters of each solution are required? Here's the first equation. The 2% plus the 6% is going to equal 60 liters. The second equation is 2% times T, the number of liters of 2% methanol, 6% times the number of liters of S, 6% methanol, and we want a solution that's 3.2% methanol, 3.2% of 60. I want to reformulate this to get a collinear equation. I'm going to write 2% T, that term's okay. I'm going to write this as 2% S plus 4% S, that's 6%. In other words, I'm going to subtract 2 from this, and I get 4%, and then add a 2. Here it is. I'm going to write this as 2% times 60 plus 1.2% times 60. In other words, I broke this term up into 2% of it, and then 1.2% equals 3.2%. Why did I do that? If I graph this equation and I take these three terms, 1, 2, 3, and graph it, it'll be the same, it'll coincide, the lines will coincide. Two collinear equations. So I can sort of not eliminate them, but the only way this equation can be equal is if 4% S is equal to 1.2% times 60, the odd terms. So there it is, 4% times the 6% solution, S. I'm going to reformulate 1.2% times 60. I'm going to multiply by 4% and I'm going to divide by 4%. Notice something, when I do this division, the percent sign cancels. 4 into 60 goes 15. 1.2 times 15 is 18. So I'm going to need 18 liters of the 6% solution. And reformulate this 60, I'm going to subtract 18 and add 18 because that is what I need for the 6% solution. So T, when I evaluate this, it'll come out to 42. So 42 liters of the 2% solution, 18 liters of the 6% solution, and when you add that together, you'll get 60 liters. But all I did was arithmetic, and I solved the problem. And I did not have to change that percent 2 over 100, 2 over 100, I mean 6 over 100, 2 over 100, and 6 over 100, and 3.2 over 100. I let it alone, and then it canceled in this division right here. All right. In this next clip, we're going to have two two equations and two variables that we have to solve simultaneously. But we're not going to use axiomatic method. We're going to use reformulation again. And we're going to reformulate until we get translational symmetry. And then the value of the variables will be from one-to-one matching of terms. The problem is Cool Mitts Incorporated sold 20 pairs of gloves. Plain leather gloves sold for $24.95 per pair. Gold braided gloves sold for $37.50 per pair. The company took in $687.25. How many of each kind of glove were sold? Here's the first equation. Plain leather gloves plus gold braided gloves, they sold 20 of them. Here's the second equation, $24.95 times the plain leather gloves plus $37.50 times the gold braided gloves. Sales were $687.25. I want to make these coefficients equal. So I'm going to write 24.95p plus 24.95 G, gold. And then to make this 3750, I'm going to write 12.55 G. This and this adds up to 3750. Then I'm going to multiply this 20 times 24.95 and I get $499. And that's equal to $499 plus $188.25. And this sum is equal to $687.25. I subtracted $499 from that, so I get it. Now this is proportional. 1 to 24.95, 1 to 24.95, 20 to 499 is 1 to 24.95. If I graph this equation, and this one, this term, and this term, the two graphs would coincide. This term, 12.55 times gold braided gloves, must equal 188.25. So there it is. And I'm going to take 188.25. I'm going to multiply by the coefficient, and I'm going to divide by the coefficient. And when I do this, I get 15. So 15 gold braided gloves were sold. How about P? P plus 15, that's gold. 20 minus 15 plus 15 in order to get that match. And when I do this subtraction, I get P is equal to 5. So 15 gold braided gloves were sold and 5 plain leather gloves.